Hello everyone, welcome to the Week in Review for Module 6. Okay, this is a good time to touch base with you. In Module 6, we have our second midterm. So remember, we have two midterms in this class, and then we also have a final. Now that midterm, it took me a little bit of extra time to get some of those questions all finished up and polished off, I guess, if you will. So that is now live for you to go ahead and take. It is very, very similar in format, 75 questions, multiple choice that you had in module, in midterm 1. So again, very similar format. And if you stay tuned after my little week in review, I'm going to be going over a few questions that you might see themes on or kind of give you that little preview, if you will, like I did last time of about 10 questions. So you get an idea of what it looks like. Maybe the level of difficulty for the questions will be pretty much the same. And kind of give you an idea again, so it's not so much a shock as if you see them, see some of the questions, how they're laid out. So I'll go over about 10 questions here at the end of this video. So as far as week in review, we have, of course, Module 6. We're going to be doing our midterm, and also we have our topic essay. I would encourage you at this point, if you haven't done so already, is to start work on that Affordable Care Act paper. It's all highlighted in the syllabus. I also have a link in the course on major course projects. Remember, that is that Affordable Care Act, or financial management in the era of the Affordable Care Act is the title. But you can take that really in a lot of different directions. And we talked in our course conferences about maybe different ideas on how you want to do that. I encourage you really to make it your own. If you want to make it very personal about things that you see day to day in your job, in your departments, in your divisions, you can go that route. You can take it within your organization. That's also easy to do. And for those of you that may not be working in healthcare right now, you can definitely find plenty of information out there about how financial management in the era of the Affordable Care Act is really. It is a huge thing out there on a day-to-day basis on how we're going to get paid, how we're going to manage our revenue cycle, our payer mix. It should be pretty easy to find resources out there, and you could, if you want, maybe take it from a much bigger perspective. For those of you that aren't in healthcare, that might be the easier route to go, is to take it from a very kind of big perspective of how financial management is taking place in the era of the Affordable Care Act. Again, for those of you that are frontline, in there in the trenches, in healthcare, you can make it more personal about maybe some of the things that you're doing in your division, in your department. So, okay, so that's the paper. If you haven't started work on it, start work on it this week, because before you know it, it will be the end of the class. Now, as we approach the end of the class in Module 8, remember, we will have a final. It will be 150 points. It will be, I'm looking at about 100 questions for that final versus 75 questions that we have for our midterm. So do keep that in mind. But I'm also going to put some extra credit. I've talked to a few of you, and you've had wondering if there would be any extra credit offered. And typically, I like to give a few extra points for folks that think that they would like to take on a little extra to earn some additional points. So look for the extra credit assignment in the new course news this week. You will have all the way until Module 8, until Sunday at midnight, the last day of the class. As long as you get it in before the last minute of the class on Sunday at midnight, Module 8, that's fine, as long as that assignment is in there on Monday morning when I go to submit final grades, and I can grade that before submitting your final grade. So most of you, I think, will find after adding your numbers up, you'll be happy with the grade that you have. But if you feel like, I might be between an A or a B and you want a little extra cushion, feel free to use the extra credit. Okay, so that concludes our week in review. So go ahead and stay tuned if you like. I'm going to spend the next couple minutes kind of giving you a sneak peek at a few stylized questions that I'll be showing up on the midterm. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those. Okay, so a quick review of
A few sample questions give you a flavor of the type of questions that you'll see. Again, very familiar with what you've already had on midterm 1. But again, questions like this will be common. Objectives of the budgeting process should include the provision of A, and then you look, of course, through there, and it comes directly from the chapter reading. But the correct answer for this one, if you didn't know it right off the bat, is a basis for evaluation of financial performance in accordance with the organization's own standards, policies, and plans. Another typical question that you might see, and remember that these questions will be in a random order, so they're they won't follow like chapter 13, 14, 15, 16. It will be pulled from all the chapters, but all randomized. So like this question, this comes from our variance and standardized measures chapter, but standardized measures may include workload measures, sets of standards used by managed care plans, hospital per bed measures, and the correct answer is D, all of the above. Let's see, let's look at another question here. This one, a little bit different flavor I'm trying with this one. But again, try not to read too much into this as you look at questions. If I do give you one where it's sort of a situational question, again, it may be more of a definition question embedded within a situational question. So I guess try not to read too much into them. But I've tried to mix in a few what I call like these situational questions in this midterm. So be forewarned, but don't let them throw you. In this case, Jack, the general manager of a physician practice, decides to use estimates for several items when preparing the monthly financial statements for the doctors. His decision is considered to be a correct use of estimates, a common use of estimates, and incorrect use of estimates. And the answer of that one is A and B. That one you can almost eliminate just by C would not even work with the other two. So C almost automatically eliminates itself, and you arrive pretty quickly, I think, at A and B on that. But again, look for those kind of situational questions. I think I got about 3 of them on this this midterm. Here's a simple, I guess, definition question. Very clean, no situational stuff here. But variance analysis inputs must stipulate the following. And this I'm excluding items on here for you. So some of these questions you'll have exclusionary things where none of them make sense. So look out for that. Or you might have multiple choices that will make sense for some of these questions. So variance analysis inputs must stipulate in the applicable time period, the services or products delivered, both of the above or neither of the above. So in this question, neither of the above apply towards variance analysis. I did mix in a few true and false this time, so hopefully that will help with a little bit, maybe with speed as you go through it, give you some time. The true and false generally tend to be a little bit easier, but comparability requires consistency. True. So that one hopefully be a nice little break for you when you see true and false. I think I have maybe 6 to 7 true and false on this test. Benchmark questions. Benchmarks are typically used to measure performance gaps, salary adjustments, capital improvements. That doesn't make any sense. Or D, all of the above. Well, if C absolutely makes no sense at all, D would be thrown out, and salary adjustments doesn't make any. That one, if I was just thinking basically, that really doesn't apply. But it is performance gaps, A. So sometimes you can look at these questions and you can knock out hopefully 1 or 2 pretty quickly. That was my goal, is that you can usually knock out 1 or 2 of those answers quickly, and some of those answers are going to be pretty close and require. That's where you're really differentiating that you've read the chapter and maybe taken a few notes on that. And our this one should be a gimme for you on the Pareto analysis as an analytical measurement tool based on the Pareto principle. The Pareto principle is often called the 60-40 rule. So hopefully and all of you had this within your topic essays, it's the 80-20 rule. So that 60-40 rule, wrong, false. So you move on to the next one. Let's see. And then projections. Again, a very simple definition question. Projections are views into the future. That can almost be basically a true or false question too, but I kind of mixed it up with 3 variables in there. So, but that is correct. Projections are projecting out into the future. So A is the correct answer there. And let's see, let's go over one more here. Very simple definition of question. Trend analysis, you should know basic concepts on what that is and its alternate names. So trend analysis is sometimes called horizontal analysis. So the vertical you could knock out right away, and hopefully you'd hone in on the horizontal and then see what would make any sense in this case. So trend analysis, and let's see. Yep, that concludes a basic review of a few of the questions. Similar, might change a word or two in some of these questions that you've seen here, but that gives you kind of a theme of what these things will look like, and very, very similar. I try to keep the level of difficulty about the same as midterm 1. So hopefully you shouldn't have any problems. Again, I do find that students that have taken some sort of note are able to are able to zip through these pretty quickly, and those are the folks that tend to score in the mid 90s and have no problem with the test. So use a system that works for you, knowing that you have a limited time frame on this exam. Okay, so this exam is going to be open today. Today is open right now today, and then it will be available. I'm going to keep this because I know it took me quite a while to get these questions put together, and I do apologize for that. This midterm will be available until next Friday, Module 7. So you actually have all the way through almost the entire Module 7 to take the midterm for Module 6. For those of you that get it knocked out over the weekend for Module 6, that's totally up to you, but you'll have all the way through next Friday to complete this. So hopefully that helps. If you do encounter any difficulties with this, with the exam, please let me know. And just like before, I'll make sure and look at the questions and see if we have any bad questions after we're done with this. I tried to simplify some of my approach a little bit with this set of questions versus the last one. So hopefully we don't have any toss-outs, but you never know. All right, so that includes the week in review. Thanks for hanging with me and catching this little brief snippet of what the midterm is going to look like. Or 75 questions and 180 minutes, so best of luck on that. And I will talk to you next week. Thanks.